Hi everybody, I am Krista McCann, the art teacher here at the high school. For those of you who have had me in class, you may have heard some of this story before, but for those who haven't, I wanted to share with you why SWAT Week was so important to me. If you think back to the end of the school year in 2020, this was when we didn't come back from spring break because of COVID, and most schools finished virtually. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my students that year. I was going to be leaving Stillwater. I was going through a divorce and was moving back to Oklahoma City. I remember making a doctor's appointment after about 3 weeks of having my back hurt. I thought I had pulled a muscle in moving furniture out of my house. That was on May 27th, 2020. Turns out that it was not a pulled muscle. My blood work came back that my liver enzymes were high, and my doctor wanted me to have an ultrasound done the very next day at the hospital. I was able to get in quickly because it was COVID and not a lot was going on. The ultrasound of my liver showed nothing. However, the technician was giving me the tour of my insides on the screen and happened to see a mass on my kidney. So the doctor called me in for a CAT scan the very next day on May 29th, called me that afternoon, and as I stood in an empty room in my house, got the news that I had cancer and needed to see an oncologist right away. I remember thinking I couldn't have heard her correctly. All of these really hard things were happening in my life. How could I have cancer too? I got in the next week with an oncologist, and she confirmed that there was a cantaloupe-sized tumor moving my kidney out of the way, and that's what was causing my back pain. They immediately did a biopsy 3 times from the back and had me scheduled to have a PET scan, and that was interesting. On a PET scan, they inject you with a radioactive sugar water. So it's protected in a metal canister from light. And then they give you an hour to let that sugar disperse through your body. And then they roll you into a giant tube to take pictures of your body, because cancer cells eat sugar faster than other cells. And so they're looking for places where the sugar is showing up on the scan. So the PET scan was on June 16th. That day they started me on medicines to help protect my kidneys from the damage that the chemo would do to them. June 19th, they scheduled me for an echocardiogram to make sure that my heart was strong enough to withstand the damage the chemo would do also. Then we did on Friday, June 19th, another biopsy, this time of my bone marrow on my back. Downside is I was allergic to the pain medicine for that, so they couldn't give me the more effective stuff. I got the lesser effective stuff, yay! And they put in a port to access my veins. Every time you had to go and have an IV inserted, it was a lot easier to have it inserted into this device instead of trying to find a vein. Both the bone marrow biopsy and the port operation were done awake. That was surprising to me. I wasn't really expecting to have surgery and listen to the doctor singing songs or having a nurse like rub antiseptic on your rear while they're getting ready to take a biopsy. That was weird. On June 21st, I decided to go ahead and cut my hair pretty short. They told me to expect to lose all of it 10 to 15 days after my first round of chemo. I had lymphoma, was the kind of cancer that I had. Its awareness ribbon color is lime green. And so on June 23rd, when I started my first of 6 rounds of chemo, my Facebook page was flooded with friends and family members and students, all wearing lime green to show their support of me that day. I had to do 6 rounds of chemo, 3 weeks apart. Each round lasted from about 6 to 8 hours while they administered 4 different drugs. The worst one was called Red Devil, and they had 2 different injections. It's a vesicant, which means it destroys tissue that it touches. Had to be administered directly by a nurse while they checked the backflow to make sure it wasn't leaking every 10 seconds. You also had to eat mouthfuls of ice while this one was being administered to you. It helped prevent the mouth sores. So to this day, I still get really nauseous with sonic ice just because of the memories it brings back. When you were done with chemo, they would attach another type of shot to your arm. It would insert a little catheter in your arm, and you wore it for 28 hours. I called it RoboDoc. But what it did was it would give you an injection 27 hours after your chemo finished that would make your white blood cells start mass producing. Normally you produce about 4,000 to 10,000 white blood cells. It would make them ramp up to about 50,000 white blood cells. That many blood cells going on in your bone marrow made your bones hurt a lot. So had a lot of medicine to try and combat nausea and the pain and everything that was going on. I just tried to remind myself that when it was hurting, to tell myself it meant that it was working. Other than the extreme bone pain I was feeling, the other side effects that chemo gave me was nausea, mouth sores, fingernails about to fall out, changes in eyesight, extreme fatigue, constipation, early menopause, headaches, heartburn, shaking, bruising, heart palpitations, dizziness, and total hair loss. It's cooked. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you should be scared. This is crazy. He's like kicking into high gear. You need to shake one part down the middle.
Yeah, everything but.
I think they make the little designs with little razors.
Oh, what is O mean?
I don't want them to have a chance.
Don't
This
get
is
my eyebrows.
amazing.
Ooh, another
way
idea. No idea.
I'll do the other side now. And then
It feels weird that half of my head is cool.
it's gonna all be cool, sister.
It's like I feel a breeze where I've never felt a breeze. For a second. I definitely need points for like the coolest aunt ever.
True. Who else would let you shave their head? Zane, how's it feel? Are you ready to take him to your own hair?
No.
All right, don't hog all the head shaving. Don't care about your brother. You're doing good.
Oh, here we go. Turn this way so your mom can see.
Your face, Krista, why
He's
your
like
face
super
like that?
fast. You guys are like cautious. Luke is like,
Welcome to life with my second child.
I don't think it would last an hour or two. I mean, it's coming out like crazy. Oh my word! No, that's just a strip. No, now you need to. What?
No, you have to look more towards, yeah.
Where's my Vogue?
I'm sure you get some. Oh my goodness.
That's right, I ordered
That's right, you got that.
eyebrow pencils. So smart. And that brush, that pen, I pulled it out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get part of that from behind. It's the way the hair lays.
Okay, you can stop video now.
So actually not having hair in the summer was really kind of fun and liberating at some point. I was able to get ready pretty quickly. Didn't have to worry about bedhead or any of that kind of stuff. It was a lot cooler, although I did have to worry about sunburn, but didn't have to worry about having wind in my hair when the car windows were down. I had a couple of friends in Texas that wanted to show their support, and they both shaved their heads on FaceTime with me. I was so amazed at just the constant support and blessings I received from everybody, friends and family alike, and coworkers, people I hadn't even met. It was truly amazing. My chemotherapy 2 and 3 and 4, went by with little to no problems. Had a few hitches here and there, but not any real big deal. My daughter came home from college to visit, and she's an artist also, and so she got out the tattoo markers and did some drawings on my head, which was a lot of fun. In the fall, I started working with Yukon Public Schools, and I didn't really want to startle my students so much by being bald, and it was just easier for me to act like things were normal and do my job by having wigs. So my friends bought a bunch of different wigs for me, and then they had a naming contest for them. This one was Elle. This one was Veronica. This one was Sandy. This one was named Ruby. This one was named Violet. This one was named Lucy. And this one was a little crazy and named Tawanda. I even had a few light up ones that I used whenever I had crosswalk duty and stuff. Most days at school were pretty fun. I tried to keep it lighthearted, but when I'd get home, I would just hit the wall. So truly exhausted. Chemo session 5 came and went as normal. I just wanted to show you the needle that they use to insert into your port is kind of curved. I just thought it was interesting. I was super excited when chemo 6 came around. That was on October 6th, my last final chemo treatment. When you're done, you get to ring a bell. Super emotional time. I got to watch other patients ring it on their last days, and I was glad it was finally my turn. These are my nurses. Jason in the back was my primary caregiver. I will forever think that nurses, and especially oncology nurses, are angels in disguise. After chemo, my doctor told me that I had a 29% chance of my cancer coming back without radiation treatments and a 2% chance of it coming back with radiation treatments. So obviously I chose radiation. So the way they described the process to me was that radiation kills everything in its path. So they come at it from different angles so that they're hitting the same spot each time, but not everything in front of it. They make this form that is fit to your body. You lay in it every time that you come, and they put tattoos on my torso so that it would align with the machine. And you have to lay there perfectly still, like 100% still. Like if you sneeze, they stop and start all over again. They're just trying to be super cautious to not damage anything else. So you're laying in this form-fitted bed while the machine rotates around you, giving off emissions of radiation. In total, I had 1,540 emissions of radiation shot at my kidneys. My radiation therapists were hysterical and funny and made it so much easier to do. I had to go every day, every weekday for 5 weeks. So all the way from Thanksgiving till New Year's. I finally finished on December 29th of 2020 and was so thankful to not have to take any of my cancer treatments into the new year with me. In February of 2021, my doctor performed another PET scan. All of the treatment's effects had pretty much subsided. They wanted to make sure that there weren't any active cancer cells left. And I was glad that the results came back as no evidence of cancer. The tumor had shrunken down to the size of an egg, but it was basically just scar tissue now. I decided 2021 would be dedicated to growing hair back. It came back super dark, almost black even. And as it started to grow out, it got really curly. I was really unfamiliar with how to deal with hair like this. Still wore a hat a lot because it was cold in the winter. But by the time school rolled around, it was a more manageable haircut. And pretty soon I even was able to put it in a ponytail. August was another milestone for me. I was able to have my port removed, which was another confirmation from my doctor that she felt like I was cured and wouldn't be needing it any longer. Through this whole ordeal, I have received blessings like I could not have in any other way. I have increased faith. I have increased patience and tolerance. I am thankful for so much. I'm thankful for the grace and the compassion I received. I'm thankful for another birthday. I'm thankful to be at this school, and I'm thankful for people who support cancer research. You bring hope and comfort in a time that's really scary. So on behalf of all cancer patients and their families, thank you.